business, relationships, health, or your life purpose? I'm Darius Oliver, and I help people to look within and find clarity and direction in their constantly changing lives. Tune in and listen with me as I go deep into your patterns and personal cycles through divine numerology. Any life transition you're experiencing can be illuminated by an in-depth analysis of your chart. For the first time in Stockton, you now have access to a professional numerologist here to help you light your own way. I'm in the booth to help you find your own truth. Tune in to Divine Numerology every Friday at 3 p.m. on The Voice of Stockton.
The Third City Podcast is a production of Third City Coalition. In our show, we examine case studies in urban development in Stockton and other cities like Stockton across the country, exploring their local and regional impacts. Individual efforts play a role in Third City development, and it starts with you.
Hi everyone, this is Dr. Julie Damron, local veterinarian for over 20 years. I am so excited about my new radio show, Tales and Tips, on Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, Voice of Stockton, and KXVS Radio. I will discuss relevant issues affecting animals and pet owners today, how to avoid common problems, and how to extend the quality of life for your cherished companions. As a community advocate, I will also discuss important social issues that affect our city. I plan to showcase organizations and heroes who are doing amazing things to help others. Remember to tune in every Tuesday morning at 10, starting soon.
From the Community Center for the Blind and the Visually Impaired. Is that right?
Yeah, visually impaired, yes.
Visually impaired, all right. Thank you. Well, thank you for coming on this Sunday. I know you probably want to be a part of with your family, but I think it's time to come. So I would like to know, tell me about yourself.
As you said, my name is Hy Cohen. I am originally from Seattle, Washington. I moved down here to Stockton back in 2010 when I got married to my wife, who is originally from this area. So I moved down here, and I first started off as a piano technician, and that because the economy, that was not a viable field. So I went into the field of adaptive technology. So that's where I'm doing now.
Oh, good. So you went to school for the make that, or you just get certified, or what?
Yes, I'm a certified adaptive technology instructor. I'm certified in several products, such as Zoom text magnification software, as well as JAWS, which is a screen reader program for the blind.
Okay, so most of the people that are kind of listening don't know about what that means, but I'm sure that most blind audience will know what you're talking about. Can you kind of be more specific about what JAWS means as far as readers?
Sure,
okay.
Yes. So Zoom text, it is designed for both Windows and the Mac. So what it does is somebody who is visually impaired, in other words, they have some functional vision enough to be able to read large print, can magnify what's on their screen. So they can use products like Microsoft Office, the internet, and those kind of products. So anything that a sighted person can use on Windows, a visually impaired person can use on Windows. JAWS, on the other hand, is primarily targeted at people who are either totally blind or don't have enough functional vision that allows them to use magnified screens effectively. So what JAWS does is it talks, it tells you what is on the screen. And what a lot of times people get confused with is they think that being visually impaired or blind, that we talk to the computer. Most of us do not talk to the computer. We touch type. So we're taught to touch type. So that's how we talk to the computer. So we have to learn a bunch of Windows and software shortcut commands, like, for example, Control B to bold text in Word would be an example. So we have to learn all these commands to be able to use a computer effectively.
Okay. Now, the first question I'm going to ask you, tell me about your life challenge and overcome. Before we go that, I would like to talk about, before we talk about what did you do in Washington that you became an author of what?
Oh, in Washington State, in my home state, I am the creator of a guide dog and service animal criminal law. It is called Layla's Law, Layla''S law. And it is named after my guide dog at the time that was severely harassed and attacked by a neighborhood dog. So I went to my legislators and I said, we gotta do something about this. So I learned how to read and write law. I learned how to get through the political process. By the time we submitted the law for consideration to the legislature, it took 3 months for the law to become law, which received 100% vote. And in politics, it's very rare to have both parties, major parties, Republicans and Democrats, to agree on anything, let alone get them to get 100% vote. And that law has gone on to become considered model law in the United States. So it's in such states as South Carolina and Florida, as well as Washington State.
Okay, great, awesome. So now, just tell me what is your skill in computer technology, and the reason why you already said that because it was an economical thing, so okay. So, but the reason you're computer and adaptive technology instructor, how did you become that? Because anybody who's visually blind or a student, like say in high school or who decided to want to go in that field, what they have to go through the process. Go ahead.
Well, a lot of my skills was gained when I was an administrative assistant for a nonprofit agency in Washington State. When I was an administrative assistant, I had to be able to use software such as Windows and Microsoft Word and Outlook and the internet to conduct research and to write papers. And to do those things, I needed to be able to use products such as JAWS and Zoom Text, depending on how much my eye fatigued, depending on what program I personally used to be able to do my job. I also volunteered working with visually impaired and blind children, and a lot of them were not receiving the necessary computer training and school. So they would need help with that, and I volunteered to work with that. So I gained a lot of my skills at that point. And then I went on to become certified in various technologies, and I've now been working total over 10 years in the field.
Wow, that's awesome. So let me ask you the next question I will ask you is that what is the fear of computer that you find that begins the visual impairment or blind person who have when learning that computer?
You know, I think people who are vision impaired or blind have many of the same fears that somebody who is sighted would have with starting a computer. Can they do it? It's so complex. Can they use it? Is it going to are they going to be able to learn what they need to learn to be able to accomplish the goals they want? Will they break it at first? I mean, you get clients come in initially that they're afraid to even turn the thing on, let alone start practicing the skills they're learning in class. So it takes a lot of encouragement, positive attitude. I try to make my classes, while we're serious, we have a task to accomplish. I try to make them as fun as I can, because it's very high stress learning a new and complicated product for many people who don't have experience with computers. So I like to make the class as fun as I possibly can and as relevant to them as I possibly can. We teach 101 at the center. We're not we're kind of the equivalent of what a good private school would have. We're able to work 101 and meet individual needs for what they need individually to meet their certain educational or work goals, career goals, as well as life goals.
What?
Life goals.
So what do you mean by that? When you're putting the goal, a life goal as well as a career goal. So what kind of career job when they graduate from high school, what career they can go to out? What is it?
Well, most people who are vision impaired and blind try to go on to universities or colleges to get more education. And from there, they go into just about any field you can think of. I had a recent client that's going to university she's vision impaired, and she is going to study interior design.
Oh, wow, that's good. That's a fun interior designer, like housing or a table or what, furniture?
Yeah, interior design. So go into somebody's house and tell them how to decorate their house and stuff like that. So somebody who is blind and vision impaired can go into just about any career field. I wouldn't recommend taxi driver or truck driver at this point, but beyond that.
Have you seen that movie called Can't Hear and See, Can't See, Can't Hear?
No, I haven't seen that.
I think it was what is that guy? It's a comedian. It's a show. It's a 70s movie. It's that Can't Hear, Can't See, Can't Believe. It's a movie. It was really funny. So anyway, it made me but they were driving. Actually, we're driving. A blind man driving, a deaf person driving. They're both trying to tell him what to do. It was hilarious. But anyway, that's interesting. So so did it have a lot of opportunity to the university to get access to jobs,
Right.
And all because pretty much computer is more simple
Right.
for them.
And that's probably what I also do. Besides teaching them how to use the equipment, I help assess them to determine working with the client, and often, for example, either the VA or the Department of Rehabilitation in California, to help the student determine what equipment is going to help them either get through school or get a job, depending on their individual choices that they make for their own education and employment path. So every student is different. I do my best as an instructor and as a product assessor to put my personal opinions aside on different products.
Hold on, you're going too fast. Product assessor. What does that mean?
So it means I will help a client determine what software and other adaptive equipment they may need. For example, should somebody who has fairly low functioning vision, should they use a screen reader such as JAWS, or should they use screen magnification such as Zoom Text, or a combination of the two? And there's not one answer fits all. It has to do with their own personal background and preferences, as well as what career they're going into, and what school they're going to, and what kind of education they're needing. Also, it's important that people who are vision impaired and blind learn how to use the internet, not only for school and work, but they need to learn it for their personal lives. So, for example, banking online or shopping online. The internet has opened up a world for people who are vision impaired and blind. It is just, it's amazing. Every year things just improve constantly, and the information allows somebody who is vision impaired and blind to do just about anything they want. And it's just amazing. Even for me in the field, to go to an international conference like CSUN in San Diego.
Hold on, conference, spell it out. Okay, in San Diego?
Where they showed all the latest technology this last March. I learned about new products that will help me help my students learn, figure out what kind of equipment is best for them. So, it's really easy to get behind, and it's important for me to do what I can to keep up with the latest technologies, talking with vendors and going to conferences and stuff.
Wow. Okay, let's get long spelling. But anyway, that's good. I thought the main thing that literally you have to really keep on top of everything as an instructor. So as a specialist, which you are, what is the computer program do you use to visual impairment and blind be capable using the computer?
So, as I've already talked about, we use products such as JAWS, a screen reading program for the blind,
okay,
and Zoom Text that allows us to access the computer. Besides the computer, though, we also allowed access to products such as Android phones and tablets, and Apple iOS iPhones and tablets. And these technologies, the iPhone, for example, and Android phone, has taken what used to be tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment to adapt things for the blind and visually impaired into costing hundreds of dollars. So the technology that's designed for the general public has helped people with disabilities to be able to access things at a more cost-effective level, and actually better than the stuff that cost tens of thousands of dollars did 5-6 years ago even.
Well, I think I know that the Android phone and the iPhone have competition, and when it comes to competition, Android have not done well enough, because I know when I go look on the window screen or phone, their icon is kind of overlapping on the screen, on the corner, on the edges. So basically it's not fitting into the screen well enough to be large enough to see what's overlapping the letter or the number, something like that. So I know they have some glitch or problem, they need to work on skill. Because I know that, I don't know if you know Christopher Cansett. I think he worked under contract with Apple over there. And they does a lot of research. So I know they hire a lot of blind people to make sure what their evaluation of product. So those products that they come out, been tested by them, did it come to you? It's already been pretty much researched it.
Right. So the phone, iPhone and Android phones, right out of the box that anybody buys are come fully accessible. They have magnification capabilities as well as screen reader capabilities. So somebody who's blind can use a touch screen, believe it or not.
Okay. So they read for you.
Right.
Okay. So that's how did they put a plug-in in? Because it kind of, if you read something more personal information, like without texting, email, are there pretty much reading privately, or how do you do that?
Yeah, you can use an earphone
On your phone.
or a braille display. A braille display.
Well, hold on, what that mean?
I want to get there. Yeah. So a braille display is a small box, usually that's portable, and it has braille cells in it.
Oh,
A
okay,
braille
braille
cell
cell, okay.
is 6 dots.
TikTok.
So you might have a braille display, maybe it has 12 braille cells in it, for example. And those dots push up and create different symbols that somebody who's blind can understand. So the braille display automatically changes what dots appear, pushed up, allows somebody's vision impaired or blind to be able to read the braille, and so the dots can change as you keep reading. So that will allow somebody to be able to do things privately.
Okay, so now, I know Jennifer Boylan was showing me that you have a machine that really have braille, like simple name, and it's really awesome, So electronically though, they have like a little box or a pad where they have braille cell on to read.
Right.
As far as that, do they use that at school as well or not?
Yes, a lot of kids learn braille and they use braille displays at school if that's what's appropriate for them. So braille, especially braille displays, are very common in the deaf-blind community, where they're not able necessarily to hear the speech output. So they have to have the output in braille electronically so they can use computers and cell phones and things like that.
Okay, all right, that's very interesting. Okay, so I like it. It's very simple. Access to technology is very simple. So can you? I know you brought some equipment to demonstrate. What is? So tell me what you have in your glasses.
So my glasses here. This is a fairly new product. This is called Aira. A-I-R-A, and Aira uses smart glasses. So there is a camera on the right hand side of the eyeglasses, and that camera is wirelessly connects to my cell phone, which then connects to an agent who has been trained to help people who have vision impaired or blind. So, for example, if I were needing help reading a cookbook at home, or I'm at the grocery store looking for a product, or I get lost and I'm trying to find my way around construction. Let's see. Oh, like my daughter, 6-year-old. If I'm at the park and she's not deciding to be stubborn and not answer me when I call her, I can use the Ira glasses, and the agent will help me see where she is visually.
So in other words, like an interpreter, like an interpreter for the deaf, they use their hand to communicate as well as for you to kind of clarify the definition of what they're seeing to you, right?
Right.
Okay.
In fact, that's what they call it. They call it a visual interpreter.
Oh, they have a visual interpreter. Oh, I never heard of that. That's pretty interesting. The technology that have.
And so technology has come a long ways. And if people out there want to learn more about the IRA product, they can go to AIRA.io and learn a lot more about the product. There's also
IO?
IO.io.
AIRA.io.
Okay. Or they can go onto YouTube and find videos on IRA as well. So that's one product that...
Can I look, touch it? Go ahead.
Sure.
I will show it to the people. Look at camera.
And you can replace the lenses and use your own glasses or sunglasses if you wish. The screws that allow the lenses to pop out.
So I'm describing to the deaf community what is I'm looking at and describing it. Okay. So it's also, did that glass is like prescription glass or just kind of general glasses?
The lenses in here are just generic. But you
can, right?
Yeah, you can put your own glasses on though, and put this on top of your glasses if you need to.
Oh, but I remember it's similar. It's almost similar like you see in like Google, where they were banning it because it's, I don't know what it's similar to what they were doing.
Actually, they used Google glasses initially for this product,
and they banned it because it was a privacy thing. You know that they had even a woman had a suit because they actually needed that for her anxiety and needed to have that important thing to have, right?
At this point, there is no, cause for, I'm aware of any legal issues using the glasses. Obviously, if you're at a movie theater, there might be some issues that weren't described. But most movies are available described anyway for vision impaired and blind. So, there may be some copyright issues to be concerned about, but as far as I'm aware, I haven't heard of any issues at this point.
Okay. So IRA is a company that developed those glasses.
Right.
And did the service, did it free or the cost behind that service?
Yes, the cost at this point is fairly expensive for most of us who are vision impaired and blind, who are on fixed incomes. But I think those costs will eventually come down. And one thing the company is trying to do is work with various companies such as grocery store chains and have them pay for the minutes that the vision impaired or blind person uses while they are at their store, because that allows them to have their employees be used for what they're supposed to be doing instead of helping somebody who's vision impaired go shopping.
So in other words, to help them bring business to them as well, what they buy, or like Safeway or something like a Big or Walmart can really have that
right
technology for their advantage to use customer to buy and still pay.
Right, because right now what happens is most people who are vision impaired and blind, they go to the customer service desk and say, I need help shopping. So then they have to find somebody who's available to help you shop. That can take a lot of time sometimes. And then when you go shopping with somebody who doesn't necessarily know the products very well, you have no idea how many times I've been to a grocery store and asked for lettuce, and the person helping me had no idea what lettuce was.
Oh my God, really? You know what's kind of funny? Same thing too. I have a hard time when I go to Walmart. I ask them where's the clothes section. men's section. They say, I don't know. I'm like, you do have a men's section, but like, where? I don't know. I work in this department, but not really. I don't know. So they do have it, but I don't know. It kind of means they're hiring, I don't know, people that they're not trained.
That's where the Ira glasses could be an advantage to the company, because their employees aren't trained to work with somebody who's vision impaired and help them out. They don't. They're just somebody who's been told help out this person, and they don't know how to do it. But these agents do, so they know how to describe things and help us locate the items that we need in the grocery store.
So okay, so the Ira, have you talked to the company itself regarding the information? Are they certified visual impaired interpreter? I bet they have rule and law and ethic as far as that concerned.
At this point, it is industry controlled only. There is no legal standards for visual interpretation. Knowing the government, there probably will be eventually.
Okay, I already said that already. It's already publicized already. I already said it. I messed them up.
At this point, no, they do train their staff really well. They have they have people who are blind on their advisory board that help them create their training curriculum and advise on product updates and things like that. So the company is very willing to listen to the community of people who are vision impaired and blind to be able to train their staff the way that we want them to help us and do the services that we need to have done. So the company is, instead of saying, this is what's good for you, take it, the company is very willing to listen to us and say, this is what we need and want.
Wow, that's amazing. I always thought that the blind community have been a lot of support by government, business, and very supportive and handing in far as the organization itself as well recognized community publicly, and it's really good compared to other disability as well that are not, what I'm saying is ignored or not looking into that. So you have a lot of opportunity with the organization of the blind, and I know you have the government of the blind up as well, something like that as well. I think what's the thing? You have an organization that Jennifer had invited me to go, so it was really good.
And at the center, besides teaching adaptive technology, which is a very important factor, we also teach other skills such as orientation and mobility, which teaches some orientation.
Okay, go ahead.
Which is a means of teaching somebody who's blind and visually impaired how to travel safely and effectively throughout the community. So that's doing things like how to cross the street safely, how to take a bus from point A to point B, how to go into a store and get around. So orientation mobility is extremely important because without that, people are stuck at home and need help from the side of the community to do anything. So it opens the road for independence. Besides orientation mobility, we also teach Braille, which is, like I described earlier, is the encoded language of English. So everything that's in English is in Braille. It's not an interpretation of English. It is English, but just encoded. We teach that. And we also teach independent living skills. So that would include such things as how to cook safely, and how to make sure things get cooked correctly, how to go banking, how to track their bills, how to make their bed and clean. And And not that they're not able to do those things before coming to our center, but we teach alternative methods. So
Okay.
So somebody may not be aware of, for example, cleaning. If I'm going to clean a table, I will use like a lawnmower would going up and down the lawn. So I overlap. Every time I go up and down the table, I'll overlap slightly just to make sure that I get the whole table clean, because I can't see spots I may have missed. Where somebody sighted may not be quite as careful about cleaning the table like that. But I have to be, because I can't tell what is and isn't clean.
I have noticed that too when I have blind friend before and in the Bay Area, and they did that. They kind of they cleaned the table from the one end to the beginning to the end, straight line. That's very good. I like now. Now you kind of remember back then. Now I kind of recall what I remember what you just said. And it was kind of interesting. I went,
Right.
Oh. And also the food is still like you have a 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and a 9 o'clock.
Right.
And what are it's kind of like the same routine. What's that 12?
12 o'clock would be whatever you want to be.
Okay.
So, like for a plate of food, if you're putting a plate in front of somebody who's blind, you might say, okay, the green beans are at 11 o'clock, the steak is at 6 o'clock, for example. Now, when cooking, a technique might be, for example, opening up a carton of milk. Visually, there's a little arrow that tells the sighted person where to open up the carton of milk. Yeah. Now, you can hand me a carton of milk, and I can't see that arrow, but I can open it correctly every time. And think about that. How might you be able to do that without seeing the arrow? Well, there happens to be fold lines that you can feel tactilely on the side of where the carton, where you open up the container. So that tells somebody who's vision impaired or blind which end to open of the carton of milk. So there are techniques like that. So we do things differently, but at the end of the day, we are able to accomplish the same things that people who are sighted do. Like I have a baby boy at home, for example. We had somebody ask us, how can I, change a baby's diaper? The same way a sighted person would. I have to be extra careful to make sure I wipe everything down and make sure it's all clean. But to do it, my wife can beat me in a race to get it done. But at the end of the day, the diaper is changed and the baby is clean. So, it's just different ways of doing things. And it takes a lot of creativity and willingness to be flexible. And I think when you're newly blind, that can be a scary thing. Your world has totally changed, and it can be scary to start learning, trying to figure out how am I going to live my life now that I'm blind. They say 80% of the world is communicated visually. So being vision impaired or blind, we have to make up for that 80%. And we do a pretty good job. But it takes encouragement and creativity and thinking things through more carefully and talking to your peers. We also have social programs at the center that help to encourage the skills that they learned through our training programs. We also have a peer support group. So that support group is designed for people who are vision impaired to help each other solve problems of anything, social, educational, or employment, how to meet the challenges of daily life. And we're there to help each other out, and I think that's a very important piece of the puzzle.
Whoa, that's wonderful. You know what? I do believe that the disabled people can do whatever they put their mind to it, you know, and to encourage and be positive, you know, and I do believe that no people are not broken, you know what I mean? People are able to do whatever their 5 cents can do, you know, and if you could, if you like at one point you have a family, you got two kids, and you know you take it's a learning process, you know. You got to know what the kids like, what they want, what he's crying about, what he's looking at, what makes him, what he's scared about, what he saw outside and make her cry. You know, you got to really kind of like, okay, we got to know what they're talking about. You have to rely on resources. You have to rely on yourself. You have to rely on your intuition. So, I think definitely need that creativity as well.
Right.
You know?
And, you know, I'm a foster parent.
Parent.
You know, I have to be able to meet the guidelines set by the state and county.
Okay.
But
hold on, before you go there, does the state county have that had adopt anything for people with disability? Can it become foster care?
You know, I was told by the agency that I was the first vision impaired or blind person to look toward becoming a foster parent. And they were very flexible. They were willing to listen to my needs. And, you know, I have heard horror stories about people who are blind parents and had their babies taken away by social workers. And I didn't experience that with the county when I was getting my license.
What do you mean what license? You mean a parent? Foster
It's
parent?
a foster parent license.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had to go through training, and the county provided all my written materials in accessible format for me. So they provided to me in electronic format so I could read it in Microsoft Word.
Hold on, you're going too fast. Okay.
And they described things to me and they need to when teaching. So they were very willing to accommodate me. And I didn't feel that my blindness was an issue. You know, and we were the second family, foster family, to get a child in our class. So, you know, we had a pretty good experience. Yes, there are people who are ignorant, just like anywhere in society, but you do your best to teach them and educate them. And, you know, it's pretty good. And, you know, right now we have a 10-month-old that we're fostering that we are planning to adopt.
I heard that it's a boy, right?
Yeah, it's a boy.
Okay, and did he have a name or?
Yeah, his name is Tristan.
Oh, a Christian.
Tristan. T-R.
Tristan. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So are there your training? So are there like what on probation or what are there when you're having those kids? The 6-month-old kid, are they visiting like every day, or are there like? Well, I mean, I don't know. It's just I'm just trying to get an idea of an agency to kind of go from a blind family and adopt, and you want to adopt, and when you tend to develop a bond, you know, a bond to your 6-month-old kid, and I can imagine that. You know what I mean? I know
Right.
about just having a foster kid that you're gonna want, and hopefully you're gonna adopt. You know.
Right. And the agency comes out to my house. The social worker assigned to our baby comes out once a month to check on the baby and to give us any updates they need to give us or answer any questions we have, get any additional services that we may need, such as VMRC.
Oh,
Valley.
that's MRC. Okay, what's that?
Stands for Valley Mountain Regional Center.
Okay. Right now we're close to our 10 minutes. We're gonna just kind of we're done with the interview. Thanks for Hy for giving the information about the blind and what you have done, have accomplished. I think that's a really, to me, that's a very encouraging and commendable experience coming from you. What you accomplished, it's awesome. Now,
let me give you some information real quick about the center. Real quick.
Hold on, what you will.
Okay.
Let me say something about yesterday. Also, yesterday Summer Wonderland was. Yesterday we had it in July 22nd. Yesterday it was an all-day and all-night thing, and the event was awesome. I think that anyone that showed up probably had a good time because it was one where they had it at Channel Brewery, and they have art exhibit, they have silent auctioneer, and it was really awesome, and it was really encouraging, and I met a lot of new people there. But it was real awesome. I love it. I even donated $100 plus I even bought $12 when other people came with me, so it was really good. And as well as next week, I'm gonna have Rita on my segment called the Sister of the Joaquin be coming next week for the interview. So, and then also I'd like to thank Hy, and I would like to go ahead and you want to talk anything about what event you're going to talk about?
Yeah.
Okay.
First off, you can reach the Community Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired. We at 2453 Grand Canal Boulevard, Suite 5 in Stockton. Zip code's 95207. Our phone number is 209-466-3836.
Hold on, going too fast. Where's their number here? I don't see
209
209
466
466
3836
336
3836.
36. Okay, that's what's.
And then we can be found on the web at www.communitycenterfortheblind.org or Facebook at facebook.com/CCBVI. We have a couple of upcoming fundraisers. We have a Dining in the Dark fundraiser coming up on October 27th. And in the future,
What is that? What dark in the dark? You had the light off while you're eating what, spaghetti?
we're going to be doing, I think, blindfolds for this.
Only for blind folk?
Yes.
And no other people is now welcome? Is that the public is welcome?
Yes, it's
Okay,
going to be
got it.
blindfolded. It's a fundraiser.
It's blindfold. Okay, it's
Blindfold,
blindfold.
yeah.
Okay,
Blindfolded
okay.
fundraiser, and also education to help teach the public about vision impairment and blind. That will happen on October 27th. We also will eventually having a crab feed and a tacos and tequila. You can learn more by calling us at our phone number or emailing us at info@communitycenterfortheblind.org.
Okay, I got this. Where is that? Let's see. I have this. Or okay, ccbiv.org. Okay, got it. All right. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for people who watch my show, the Vigil Show. Thank you for coming. I hope I see you next week. Thank you. From the voice of Stockton. Thank you.
My name is Miriam, and I am the voice of Stockton.
Do you want to relive the golden days of Stockton? Join Nate Knott on Stockton Alive every first and third Monday at 6 p.m. Tune into thevoiceofstockton.org.